Latest football news, engaging debates,
and fascinating opinions.
Pitchside talk on IO Radio. So kicking off the games for Sunday, it is a big 6-pointer between Burnley and Newcastle. But for Burnley, Phil Barnsley is available once again after his brief spell of compassionate leave. Eric Peters fit again, but Ashley Barnes is still unavailable for the Clarets. But for Newcastle, we've got some good news and some bad news. But the bad news is Lascelles could miss the rest of the season now due to a suspected stress fracture in his foot sustained last weekend against Tottenham. And Callum Wilson is available again after 2 months out with a torn hamstring. Piers here, such a big game here for both sides. Burnley, if they win this, they will go further away from that relegation zone and sort of secure their longevity in the Premier League for next season. But for Newcastle here, they need a win. With Fulham playing Wolves, we don't know how that game's going to end just yet. It could be 6 points if they get the win here.
Yeah, two teams who I definitely didn't think would be around this part of the table come the end of the season. Two teams I don't feel like should be getting relegated, but it is what it is. Obviously, management on Newcastle's side hasn't been great. I don't feel, and I don't think the fans have been happy, but it'll be an interesting game nevertheless. Newcastle fought hard, obviously got a draw against Tottenham, which is a big point for them, really, trying to get that gap between Fulham. But Newcastle need to start winning games. They're just drawing too much. They need to get wins. On the other hand, Burnley are just way too inconsistent at the moment. Losing to a Southampton team that have been in terrible form themselves, but managing to get a win over Everton. It's not consistent enough. So it's a big game for both teams. And I feel like coming into this, it's going to be that you could pick any team to win, and it would make sense. But I think both teams will be just going through the motions in this game. I can't see anybody going for the kill in this game, especially after the way Newcastle have been at as of recent. I think it's going to be a draw, and I'm going to go for a 0-0.
So there's a big clash today between West Ham and Leicester, two teams chasing for Champions League football next season. But for West Ham, they have got some big injury news. Antonio and Declan Rice are going to be out for this game. Antonio has got another hamstring problem, and Declan Rice still faces another few weeks on the sidelines with a knee injury. But for Leicester, the only injury news they've got is Sionchu, who still remains in Turkey after being testing positive for COVID-19 whilst on international duty. Piers here, a very big game here between two sides chasing for Champions League. I don't think we've ever would have said that in their lifetimes, really. Leicester and West Ham chasing here for Champions League. But for West Ham, they got that victory over Wolves, didn't bottle that 3-0 lead that they got. They got that 3 points in the end, and they're looking very good at the moment. But for Leicester here, if they win this, they just want to shore up Champions League football, unlike last season, which they absolutely bottled it at this time last season.
Yeah, it's a massive game for these teams. Whichever team wins this looks to sort of doom the other team out of the Champions League, especially with the big teams that are behind. Chelsea, Tottenham, and Liverpool. Looking to grab that fourth and third spot. So I think this game is just about who's got the bottle in them and who can go to take this. The history of Leicester. Sometimes when it comes to crunch time, they seem to crumble, and they fall out. Look at last season. Look at the Europa League this year. And you can sometimes say the same for West Ham. I remember a couple of years ago, people were saying, West Ham, they're going to be guaranteed to get top four when they had Payet, and they ended up finishing seventh. So it'd be interesting to see how West Ham could build, because they've come a long way from last season. They've come a very long way from last season. West Ham, they're looking brilliant, and they have kept wins, but they have bottled it a little bit themselves. Look at the Arsenal game a couple of weeks ago. So I think it's all about mentality in this game. And to be honest, I feel like West Ham will have the edge here against Leicester. I feel like it's time and time again that Leicester do the same thing. It's a bit like Tottenham. You think it's a bit predictable, but it always ends up happening. So I think West Ham will get the win here. I want to go for 2-1 to West Ham.
So it's the biggest game this weekend, Spurs versus Manchester United. And for Spurs, they could welcome back defenders Toby Alderweireld and Serge Aurier, who missed out on the last weekend's COVID-19 test, so they did not travel with the team. But fullbacks Matt Doherty and Ben Davies are both remain out for Tottenham. But for Manchester United, Luke Shaw is going to be fit despite being withdrawn at halftime during the win in the Europa League on Thursday. Marcus Rashford continued to play with an ankle problem, and Anthony Martial could be out for the rest of the season here. Piers, for Manchester United here, this is sort of a bit of a revenge game for them, really. They lost 6-1 last time out to Spurs, which sort of started this sort of revival for them. But for Spurs here, they're trying to still fight to get into this top four with an outside shot here, but they need 3 points if they want to be serious contenders still.
Yeah, for Tottenham, sort of been defending them each week, keeps saying, Mourinho's definitely going to get a win. He's got to get a win. You know how Mourinho works when the chips are down, he gets results. But at the moment, it doesn't look like he's getting these results. Another poor performance from Tottenham. I don't know if it's the manager or if it's with the players. I don't know who's at fault. Who's at fault with this, but that Tottenham team's not looking great. Manchester United, on the other hand, getting wins still. Obviously, there's nowhere really for them to go. They're not. I wouldn't imagine them dropping down in the third, and they're obviously not going to win the title. So, but I feel like they want to prove themselves against the top teams. They want to prove that next season with a few more additions, they can try and challenge for the title. And being a team like Tottenham, also against their former manager, it'll be a big result for them. So, I definitely favour Manchester United in this one. They did have a good win during the week in the Europa League. Obviously, the calibre of the team isn't at Tottenham standards, but it's still a good result for them. I think Manchester United will get the win here, and I'm going to go for a 1-0 to United.
So for Sunday night football, it is Sheffield United versus Arsenal. And for Sheffield United, they hope that Bogle and Baldock will be available for this game. But John Egan, who returned back from his toe injury, getting a few minutes at Ellen Road, should get some more minutes here in this game. But for Arsenal, Arteta is going to be assessing his squad after the draw in Europa League on Thursday. Odegaard is expected to miss out on this game with David Luiz and Kieran Tierney because of both knee injuries. And Chambers is a doubtful for this game. Piers, for Sheffield United, it's just about trying to have a strong end to the season. Relegation is looming over them. It hasn't been confirmed yet, but for them, it's just about prolonging the stay in the Premier League and just having a strong end for them. But for Arsenal here, they need to win here. They had a poor draw in the Europa League. They were poor last time out against Liverpool, but for them, it's about trying to sort of build something here because they need to start looking now to really next season.
Yeah, unfortunately for Sheffield United, after a brilliant season they had last year, their time is up in the Premier League. So it's just about having some pride. I'm sure it'd be great to get a win against a big team like Arsenal. Going back down to the Championship, obviously they're going to try and, get straight back up. So, try and take some positives out and, go out on their shield would be nice for them. But, there's nothing really in it for them. If they lose, it is what it is. For Arsenal, on the other hand, everything's on the line. An embarrassing defeat against Liverpool. And then blowing that lead against Slava Prague during the week. They need to get a win. Arsenal need to get this European football if they're going to try and pull, any sort of player to help build on this squad. That Arsenal need a major rebuild in this team already. Imagine trying to get it without a team even being in Europe. They need to get into Europe at least and get that pull. You can't guarantee on trying to win Europa League. You know what happened last time they tried to do that. So it's an important game for Arsenal, but you know what happens? Arsenal have a couple of bad results. They look down and out and they go and get a decisive win. Luckily for them, they're playing bottom of the league. So I think Arsenal should get the win here. Hopefully we'll get their motivation up and then get them that win during the week in the Europa League. So I would imagine it's going to be a 2-0 to Arsenal.